Hello again, my friends, and happy Legion Day. Yes, it's Tuesday, Legion's out, and I'm actually recording this in advance so that I can just sit there and play Legion. I don't know if you guys expected me to be doing anything less, but, well, I did want to try and free up as much time as I could, since I did actually want to talk about Legion now that it's implemented. But there's still there's a couple of bits of business, but there's one little piece of business that I need to take care of that people have been asking ever since it debuted on YouTube, which was my thoughts on the new Legion audio drama, The Tomb of Sargeras. And so that's what this video is basically going to be for, and I'm going to say this right off the bat. Even listening to it, I didn't entirely get everything. I had to go to other sources just to make sure that I didn't miss details, because there were prime moments in each section where you kind of get lost in that particular moment in the drama. And therefore you might miss these little tidbits of information that help to understand what all of the characters are doing at that given moment, like their motivations. And so I actually had to go... The reason it's taken so long to be able to do this, I wanted to go confirm with some of the other WoW community members, as well as a couple of other people I know that listen to it, to make sure that I didn't miss anything, or I didn't completely miss something, and therefore have to go listen to a part again. But here are my thoughts on the Legion audio drama. I'm not going to break this up into 4 parts. I know the audio drama is 4 parts, but now that it's finished, I can kind of just give an overall on the matter. And frankly, I think it did finish while I was off on vacation. So for those who have not listened to the Legion audio drama, and I would recommend that you do, simply because it's another one of those pieces of bridging content. Harbingers did the same thing to try and tell you what Khadgar and Gul'dan's backstory and what Khadgar was doing after the Tomb of Sargeras. And I just can't help but recommend the Legion audio drama to like a WoW fan who wants to know the lore of this expansion, because it really does flesh out the characters that are described in it. And there aren't too many characters, thankfully. Really, when you break it down, you're dealing with maybe 4 to 5 characters roughly, and they get the most development, and you understand why. So the characters that do get developed throughout it is obviously Gul'dan. He gets a little bit more development. So we got the origins with him in Harbingers, and now we're starting to bridge like what happened after Hellfire Citadel, and he just lands on Azeroth with the task given to him to find the Tomb of Sargeras and to open the gateway. And so we get to follow him and all of his development. And I'll go into the development in a second, because it's not necessarily individual character development. It's more like relationship development kind of thing. Another character that gets followed is Khadgar, obviously, because as soon as Gul'dan is spotted on Azeroth, Khadgar goes straight into action to try and take care of him before he can unleash his demon masters upon Azeroth. So that does happen. Another character that we do follow is Maiev Shadowsong, who... Maiev. Okay. I need to go into this a little bit, because Legion has created a couple of hiccups within Maiev's character. For those who don't know what I'm talking about, I'm going to bridge it up as much as I can. After Burning Crusade, when you kill Illidan, we actually start to see, the cost of vengeance with Maiev. The final words that Illidan spoke to her sting, because they sting truth. For those who don't know it, it's the hunter is nothing without the hunted. You are nothing without me. And it's essentially true, because she's been pursuing Illidan for so long that now that's no longer needed. She's fulfilled her vengeance. She's fulfilled her duty. Now what is she going to do with her life? And she kind of responds that way too. It's like, yeah, it's finished, and there is nothing, and I feel nothing. And that's a powerful thing to end on, especially for Maiev. So much so that I guess they fueled that into the book, or the novel, Wolfheart, and actually had her go a little crazy. The plot of... I'm not going to go too much into the plot of Wolfheart, but Wolfheart tries to explain some things in the Cataclysm, namely why the remaining survivors of the Highborn are integrating now with Night Elf Society, especially since Night Elf Society has said, you use magic, you're dead. If you're a night elf and you're using arcane magic, you're dead. And so the book actually tries to showcase that Malfurion and Tyrande are actually trying to bridge that gap, even though they were the ones that made the gap to begin with. And through that, they actually start speaking with the Highborn. They let them reside in Darnassus and allow them to practice the arcane arts, and they're okay with it. However, during the book, there's actually murders going on of Highborn citizens. And so they're trying to figure out what the heck is going on, and it just so happens around that time, Maev's brother Jared returns from a long time in seclusion and actually starts helping with the investigation, only to find out that it's wardens killing the Highborn, and Maev is involved. So at that point, she even justifies it. She says, these people actually brought the Burning Legion to Azeroth. Why do we want to reintegrate them into society? Why do we want to give them another chance? The decree was made. I agree with the decree. I'm going to kill them, kind of thing. And so we get to have that character development between Jared and Maev. And funniest thing, Maev doesn't get killed after that. She gets away. But then we go into Legion, where, first of all, she lets the demon hunters free, which is, I granted the desperation of the situation at the Vault at that time makes sense, but it doesn't make sense for Maev's character, who I'm pretty sure if hell were descending down upon her and flames were all about her, she still wouldn't release the demon hunters. And she does. And we even have some other story elements. Did you see why this is getting confusing? It's like she's one character 1 second and another character the next. And this also kind of reaffirms that concept, and I'm wondering if maybe Blizzard kind of realized the error of their ways in Wolfheart and put her back to being just a straight warden. Like, she just went right back to work, and that's all that matters. Although, Blizzard, I will say this, you need to bridge this, you need to explain it, and I don't care if you do it in game, I don't care if you do it with a little novella, I don't care how you do it, but we need to have this kind of cleared up. Enough so that I think I've already done it. Yeah, I think I've already done it. I've put it into the Warcraft Twitter saying, do you have plans for like a mini story to explain Maev and why her character doesn't make a whole lot of sense right now? Anyway, I'm digressing. So you follow Maev and her kind of struggles with Khadgar, because Khadgar has cost her a warden. For those who have followed Warlords of Draenor, Khadgar was accompanied by a warden by the name of Cordana Fellsong. Long story short, you gain access to an Orb of Dominion to try and free that Draenor's Garona, at the cost of enslaving Cordana, because she tries to dispose of the Orb of Dominion, and it's very clear later on that it has taken her over. And so at that point, she is now a servant of Gul'dan. In fact, that's why Maev releases the demon hunters, is because Cordana opened the way for the demons to go into the Vault of the Wardens. And so at that point, she's dealing with the struggle of, first of all, she doesn't believe Khadgar that Gul'dan is heading for the Tomb of Sargeras. And she's the only one of these characters that actually has been there and knows what's there, and also doesn't see it as a viable threat because there's no energies there anymore. According to her, all those energies were taken when she was last there with Illidan. So she doesn't see the threat there, and on top of that, she's pissed off at Khadgar because she just lost a warden because of him. So you follow Maev. The final character that we follow is the Deceiver himself, Kil'jaeden. And the only way that we follow Kil'jaeden is through his interactions with Khadgar. He's actually in Khadgar's mind, pushing him forward, pushing him to go to the tomb and open the gateway. And there's actually kind of a impression given throughout the whole thing. He is pushing Khadgar. He's pushing Gul'dan to his limit because he doesn't want this Gul'dan to betray him, just like the previous Gul'dan betrayed the Legion. And so at that point, he's pushing Gul'dan to the point of exhaustion to get him to the Tomb of Sargeras, to get him to open the way. He doesn't care if he dies or anything like that. And so those are the four characters that it mainly follows. And now we can kind of get into the relationship factor with each of them. And that's the beauty part of the Tomb of Sargeras. I mean, there's a lot of really great lore there, but there's also a lot of really great interactions between them. We get to see Khadgar and Maev go from absolutely hating each other to respecting each other as equals and at least agreeing that now that the Legion is here, we need to band together and we need to fight off the darkness, kind of thing. Despite whatever mistakes have been made in the past, we need to take care of this Legion threat. We'll resolve that stuff later. And the other the second relationship that I'd like to point out is Khadgar and Gul'dan. So, again, this Khadgar and this Gul'dan don't have a whole lot of history, but the previous Gul'dan and Khadgar do. And that was kind of hinted at in Warlords of Draenor, that Gul'dan figured out they have a history together and it's not good. And so a lot of the cool parts in the Legion audio drama are interactions between Gul'dan and Khadgar. Especially when we find out that the Legion has never really told him, like, we're guessing that the Legion told him about Khadgar. We're guessing that the Legion told him, or, stupid phone, we're guessing that the Legion told him about Garrosh, because he knew about Garrosh being Gromash's son. But they didn't tell him how his previous self died. And you'd think for a loyal servant that might be a good thing to know so that he could avoid those mistakes, right? Well, the Legion never told him. So Khadgar actually utilizes this as a weakness and says, oh, they never told you what happened to you, did they? Okay, I'll tell you. And throughout their fight in the tomb, he actually does explain, he got to this point in the tomb, and yes, the Guardians in here killed him, but it was the demons that ripped him apart and took his skull. Oops. And so that's actually a really great moment for Gul'dan to figure out that's what happened to this other Gul'dan, because he's been asking Kil'jaeden, and Kil'jaeden won't tell him. So I love the interactions that we actually got between Khadgar and Gul'dan to be able to establish that aspect and maybe even establish kind of a new history between Khadgar and Gul'dan. Another interesting aspect of that is the relationship between Gul'dan and Kil'jaeden. Again, the drama starts with Kil'jaeden pushing him to the point of near death to get him to the tomb. And later on, when Khadgar reveals what happened to the other Gul'dan, this is when Kil'jaeden realizes, okay, now I have to open up a little bit. And now I have to explain why this happened to this Gul'dan and why we didn't like that disloyal cur. And so we have to have that moment. But at the same time, we also have Kil'jaeden becoming the deceiver again and saying, well, here's the thing. You can say that you're going to be a slave of us, but even I am a servant of Sargeras, and yet I command armies. So I can already tell you this. If you serve me, then you will serve army, or you will command armies, kind of thing. We get to have that classic deceiver kind of come back into the fold and bring Gul'dan in there, especially when, I'm not going to go too much into details here, but there's basically a pool of power in the tomb, and Gul'dan has to access it in order to be able to open the way. But when he accesses it, Gul'dan shows his true colors and says, well, this is a lot of power. I don't know if I want to release you now. Especially after I found out how my previous self died. And so at that point, Kil'jaeden has to explain to him that, yes, we are asking you to be a servant to the Legion, but even I am a servant to Sargeras, and I command armies. Do you want to command armies? I can make it happen. And so at that point, Gul'dan has to make a choice. Does he keep the power for himself, which would be what the previous Gul'dan would do? That I have no doubts in my mind that that's what he would do. Or can this Gul'dan define himself differently and instead give the power to the Legion and command armies? And of course, he decides to side with the Legion. The gateway is opened, and Kil'jaeden gives him a nice little vision near the end of, you see all these demons that have been waiting? They've been waiting since this gateway has been opened. Do you want to know the funny thing about them? They're yours to command. And that's a scary point, even for an audio drama, to just say, I have these thousands, nay, tens of thousands, nay, hundreds of thousands of demons at my command to burn Azeroth to a cinder. So it's a great relationship kind of moment interaction between Kil'jaeden and Gul'dan to try and keep Gul'dan on his side, as well as have Kil'jaeden's goals realized. And of course, the thing ends with, again, Khadgar and Maiev gaining a respect for each other and actually going their separate ways. Maiev is going to the Vault of the Wardens to prepare for the Legion assault. and Khadgar goes to warn the Alliance and the Horde that the Legion is here and they need to prepare to invade the Broken Shore, kind of thing. So overall, final thoughts. I love the Tomb of Sargeras. I want more of this. In fact, can we go into other characters to be able to describe what they're going through? I would love an audio drama on Jaina right now, because Jaina's essentially gone into hiding. She's, the Alliance isn't siding with her anymore. She doesn't want to side with the Horde, and Dalaran is inviting the Horde in. So at that point, I would love to see, like, what is Jaina doing in this time? And no, she's not a freaking Dreadlord, okay? I don't know how many people have actually said this. Could you talk about Jaina as a Dreadlord? I don't believe that. I don't honestly think that the reasonings and the evidence that have been given that Jaina is a Dreadlord make a whole lot of sense. I think, in essence, what we've seen with Jaina is legit character development. And it's made sense since then. And her being a Dreadlord and the way that people have described this to me has never made sense. So at that, because there are actions that say, yes, she's totally a Dreadlord, and yes, she is totally trying to get the Alliance and the Horde to destroy each other. But then there are also other actions that go, well, would a Dreadlord care about this? Would a Dreadlord care about trying to work things out with a blue dragon and trying to work out internal conflicts, when in reality, it's a Dreadlord. It knows what it wants. So I don't care if it's a joke. I don't care if it's whatever. I would love to have a Legion audio drama just explaining to people, like, what is Jaina doing in this time? Like, is she trying to resolve her inner feelings against the Horde? Is she trying to realize that maybe she doesn't have the answer and has to side with others in order to be able to take care of this invasion? I would love a bunch of other audio, one for Anduin, for crying out loud, because we need to figure out, is the Boy King ready to take on a higher mantle, to be able to take on the Legion, but also possibly even lead the Alliance into battle, because we don't know that either. But yeah, those are a couple of ideas that I would really love to see, like audio dramas, comic books. I don't care how you do it. I just like to see more of this. And of course, I said I would love to see a bridging story on Maiev between Wolfheart and now. Like, what changed in her to be able to change her motivations, or do we just need to write Wolfheart off, at least as far as Maiev is concerned? And that's going to go ahead and do it for this video. So my overall thoughts on the Legion audio drama are, it's awesome. You should totally be listening to it before Legion hits. And if you haven't already, you should be just during your questing, because it's a lot of really great information, a lot of really great development between the characters. I can already tell, like, a couple of my friends who love Khadgar, you want more Khadgar lore? There it is. It's really great lore for Khadgar. And that's going to go ahead and do it for this video. So I hope you guys have enjoyed. I hope you guys are continuing to enjoy Legion now that it's out. And of course, I will see you guys next time for the next video.